How's it rockin', Dween Nation? You're listening to the Dween Sports Podcast. We're about to get underway. But before you give us a listen, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share. We are posting weekly sports content, and we want to build up the brand that is Dween Sports. Thank you all, and enjoy.
Welcome in, Dween Nation. This is your host, Justin Pies, alongside Janoah, Agudelo, and we are here for week 12 of the college football season. The second week of the CFP is out, so we got new rankings. We got from last week, we had some big changes. You had Alabama winning, they dominated. We both did have Georgia winning, they lost to Ole Miss. So there was, Miami lost. They finally I forget the cardiac Canes or something is what they're calling them because they always are in close games, but it finally bit them in the butt. BYU almost lost. They totally got the refs totally gave them that victory, but talk about that another day. But this week, we got 25 teams to talk about. Some are playing against each other, some are playing nobodies. But we're gonna cover it in the only way we know how, which is rapid fire game predictions. But before we do that, how you doing, Janoah?
Yo, Dween Nation. I'm doing good, Justin. I would say last week was quite the interesting week in college football there. I would say for the most part, we kind of got things right. But except that Georgia matchup there, Justin, I had the feeling that it being in Oxford, being that Georgia hasn't really been on home turf in quite some time, and being that, we're not really all the way sold on Carson Beck, and they fell short there in Oxford. And so very surprised to see Lane Kiffin lead that team to victory. We want to get to that game at night there in Death Valley there in Baton Rouge, where I had Bama winning, but I didn't expect this, Justin. I expected a 27-23 victory, a 34-30. But Jalen Milroe there dominated there, Justin. 4 rushing touchdowns, unbelievable. He had some out of like 20 yards. He had some out of 50. It was just pure dominance there. It has me questioning, though, Justin. I was thinking, hey, Jalen Milroe going to the draft next year, right? He's not going. He's going after this year, correct?
I think so. I think he'd be
Okay, all right, because I know he's been with LSU for a couple years now, or excuse me, Alabama. And so, looking down here, there, Boise State was able to get a victory. My Longhorns were able to get a victory. Thankfully, Oklahoma lost. So, I'm looking forward to this week, Justin. And one last thing there, Dwayne Nation. A month from tomorrow, bowls will begin. And then I would say a week after that, college football playoffs, that new 12-team format. As of right now, Georgia is on the outside looking at the rest. So we have some other teams. It's going to get very interesting, Justin. For the next couple weeks, we're on, week 12. And so after that, we have, 4 to 5 more weeks of, I would say 4 more weeks of college football until we know the road. And this lands all the way to January 20th, where we will crown a national champion there. And it'll be a new champion because it doesn't seem like Michigan will make the playoff with 4 losses there, or 4 or 5 losses. And not only that, the runner-up in Washington State has not had a great season at all. So we are going to get a new champion there in this new format. So very excited to see you there, Justin. And, I'm excited to get to these picks, man. It's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, let's get to these picks. Discuss who we think's gonna win and lose on this week. You got my timer ready to rock?
Yes. So before you go, you were at 2 minutes and 5 seconds last week. So let's see if you can beat it.
All right. Count me down. I'm ready to go.
All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right. We're gonna start with Texas at Arkansas. They start us off at 11 a.m. Central Time. I think this could be a sneaky game for Arkansas to keep it close, but I'm going to go with Texas. Then we got Ohio State and Northwestern. I'm going with Ohio State. Utah at Colorado. Colorado continues to win some football games. Clemson at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is not good. I know they were ranked a week or two ago, and they're frauds. So I'm going with Clemson. Tulane versus Navy. Tulane just got on the board. I think they stay on the board. Tulane beats Navy. Mercer plays Alabama. What are we talking about? Alabama gets the victory. Penn State and Purdue. Purdue is awful. They get these prime games, but I don't know why. We got Penn State, though, winning that. Notre Dame's going to beat up Virginia. SMU will beat up on Boston College. Louisville will beat up on Stanford. LSU's going to beat up on the injury-plagued Florida Gators. Missouri at South Carolina. I'm going with South Carolina. They're on a hot streak. Let them continue. Boise State at San Jose State. I mean, they're playing nobodies, but Boise State's going to win. Arizona State at Kansas State. Kansas State will get it. Oregon at Wisconsin. I think this game might be a little close. Oregon's going to win, though. Tennessee at Georgia. Georgia gets that victory back, jumps right back into the college football playoffs, so they win. Texas A&M plays New Mexico State. My Aggies will get the victory there. Washington State at New Mexico. Wazoo's going to get the victory. And then we end the night, Kansas at BYU. And I'm going with Kansas upsets BYU, who just skated on victory last week.
Wow. Okay. Well, 134 there, Justin. You did really good. I think there was more games on this slate last week, so you did really good there. I want to say that BYU, the number 6 team in the country, losing to Kansas, 3-6 Kansas. Wow. But I'll go ahead and go over my games, and then we can definitely discuss into depth for more. So let me know. I'm ready. You are.
All right. I'm going to count you down. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
And all right, we go to Arkansas there in Fayetteville, where my Longhorns defeat those Razorbacks. So give me my Longhorns. Ohio State, Northwestern, no brainer there. Ohio State. We go to Boulder, Colorado, where the Colorado, I love me some Deion Sanders and I love me some Travis Hunter. Give me those Colorados, on-fire Colorados. They go 8-2 there, winning. Then we go to Pittsburgh, where Clemson, they get their give, but they need to win. I trust Dabo there on the road. Give me Clemson, Tulane, and Navy. You know what? I'm going to go with Navy. They've been kind of hot this year. They get a bounce-back victory. We go to Alabama, where they destroy Mercer. Give me the Crimson Tide. We go to Purdue, where Penn State dominates. Then we go to Notre Dame there. Those Fighting Irish, they defeat those Virginia Cavaliers, I believe. And then we go to SMU there, where they defeat Boston College. Give me SMU. Louisville and Stanford. Give me Louisville. We go to Gainesville, Florida, where the Gators trying to get back from last week. And give me LSU. They're mad from last week. Give me those Tigers. Then we go to South Carolina. They host Missouri. Give me Missouri to come back on top there. They need a victory. We go to San Jose, where San Jose State plays Boise State. Give me Derrick Henry Jr. and those Boise State to defeat. Arizona State and Kansas State. This one's a shakeup, actually. Give me Kansas State to win it, though, at home. Oregon and Wisconsin. I think Oregon wins. I think Dylan Gabriel's putting up a pretty good Heisman campaign there. We go to Georgia, where Georgia finally has a home game in nearly a month. Give me those Bulldogs there to beat up on that number 17 Tennessee team. It's a must-win for Georgia. Then we go to Texas A&M. I love my Aggies there, my fellow Aggies. Shout out to those Aggies. Give me Texas A&M to beat New Mexico State. Then we go to New Mexico, where they host Washington State. No brainer. Washington State wins there. And then we go to BYU, where they dominate Kansas.
All right. You got 158. So, I got that one. This week's not I don't think the slate has too many upset-worthy areas. I mentioned BYU is a possible losing candidate. I think, as you mentioned, Arizona State could upset Kansas State. The Missouri-South Carolina game we flip-flopped on. I think LSU is going to be mad, so I don't really worry that Florida will beat them. And then really I'll be honest, I think Arkansas could give Texas some trouble. I'm not going to pick them to win, but Arkansas can be scrappy at times. Is there a game this week? I know the Georgia-Tennessee one, which we can dive into, but is there any other ones that you're interested in at all?
Justin, Oregon's obviously the number 1 team in the league, or in the country, excuse me. And you know what? People are not too much. Many people are talking about Dylan Gabriel for Heisman. I think, to be honest, he actually might be a Heisman this year. I know along the candidates and maybe Travis Hunter, Jinty. Who are some other candidates there? I really like Dylan Gabriel there. He has almost 3,000 yards passing, 22 touchdowns to 5 picks. And they've been kind of dominant this year, Justin. And so I'm kind of I like to watch Dylan Gabriel play. He has this left-hand style kind of way of throwing. And obviously that might not appeal to a lot of people there. But I definitely just like the way he leads his offense. And I don't think Oregon's ever really won a national championship. I think they made it a few years ago. Or not, actually, they made it like almost 10 years ago with Mariota and a few years before that as well. And so they kind of been that team that always had some high flyers. Looking down at the slate there, definitely besides Georgia and Tennessee, I kind of like the way that Penn State is playing. They kind of caught my eye this year, and they are the number 4 team. Obviously, their opponent is 1-8. But I do think that Penn State is a fun watch there. Looking across the board, before I give it back to you, LSU has kind of lost my confidence there. I was very excited this year thinking about LSU. But you know what, Justin? I just think that they beat pretty bad teams and they get away with it. They lost a few guys there a few weeks ago in Kyle Field. And then they just, last week just collapsed at home. And you know what? I was just very disappointed with LSU. So they've literally lost my interest for the rest of the year. They're definitely out for the college football playoffs. So other than that, I'm excited to see what your Aggies can do. I'm excited to see what my Longhorns can do. Quinn Ewers, he's a little bit shaky there. I'm hoping that he can get things together. We're back on the top four. We're at top 3 there, so we're ranked 3, and so hopefully we can get this victory and kind of finish this last couple weeks in this SEC kind of matchup slate.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia and Tennessee. I think Nico Emiliavia. I always fail. Name. I think he might be in trouble of playing this week. I think he has an injury he's working through. But I think with or without that, I think Georgia knows that their back's against the wall. That game's not. I don't think it's going to be very close. I think Georgia will dominate. Carson Beck, who has struggled this year, will turn it on for this week. As for another game, Arizona State, Kansas State, I think will be an interesting one. Arizona State's played pretty good. I know Oklahoma State's hasn't been good this year, but beat them by 21. Cam Scatabo he's been really good at the running back. They beat Utah a few weeks ago, or a month ago now. They beat Kansas, who just beat Iowa State. And then I know I've mentioned it twice, but this game, Texas at Arkansas in Fayetteville, I haven't seen it from Texas. I know they dominated Florida, but Florida was on a third-string quarterback. Their biggest win this year is Vandy, in Vandy, which is a good win. It's a good win. But Arkansas is known to be playing teams close. I know the last game we saw them, they got blown out by Ole Miss by 30 points. It was crazy. But, the week before that, they beat Mississippi State. They played A&M close. They beat Tennessee in a game at home. So I think there's a possibility of an upset to start the morning, which would be interesting. And it would just keep throwing the SEC into a craze. Because there's so many different SEC teams that are vying for a playoff spot right now. I mean, you have Georgia, 2-loss Georgia. You got Tennessee and A&M and Texas are all 1-loss teams, so they're right now ahead of the pack. Ole Miss has 2 losses. Alabama, LSU still only has 2 losses. Same with Missouri in the SEC. So it's like a lot of teams that could, like LSU could still make it to the SEC championship. It's weird to think about that. Not that I'm predicting that, but there's a lot of things that are gonna happen. I feel like some teams are looking forward, like, oh, like we're gonna get in, or like we're so close to the college football playoff, and they don't look right in front of them at a matchup like this. Like for my Aggies, they get New Mexico State. I'm not too worried about it this week, but next week they're going into Auburn. It's a tough place to play against a struggling team. But hey, if you're looking ahead, they're probably looking ahead to Texas, at home the next week. Make sure you focus on this game. So I'm interested with this week. There's not as many highlight games like last week. I think had some good ones, but there's still some underlying, under the radar good games headlined by that Tennessee Georgia. But yeah, Dwayne Nation, those are our college football rapid fire game predictions for week 12 of the season. The college football playoff is running very close. Everybody's got like 3 games left before we got SEC and all conference championships, then bowls, then the playoffs. So we'll still be here discussing it each week, every game. Thank you guys for listening. This is our last content of the week. So make sure if you saw this and you're like, what about the other ones? Just go scroll back. We got, NFL content for days to help you win your fantasy lineups and just to help you make some money, maybe doing some pick'ems or DraftKings or whatever. We're here to help. We love to do it. Janoah, send us out.
Yo, Dwayne Nation, this was our college football picks of the week as Justin and I are building and we are on the road to the college football playoffs, which kind of kick off and end 2 months from now. So Justin and I have a ton of content review for these next couple of weeks throughout the holiday season. and especially, breaking down this new format. So we're definitely excited there. Justin's an Aggie fan. I'm a UT fan. And, we know some fellow Georgia fans. We know some, fellow Arkansas fans. So, it's going to be a very tight race there in that SEC, guys. So stick with us if you love college football, because I would make the argument that this week and maybe next week is going to be the quietest of matchups, because then, Justin, November 30th, just a few days after Thanksgiving, in Kyle Field, we get one of the best rivalries renewed there. Texas at Texas A&M. And Justin and I might have to do a separate video just on that matchup alone, breaking it down there. So, Dewey Nation, if you love college football, don't hesitate to send it to your friends, your grandma's friends, your friends' grandmas. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. We love to talk ball here. But thank you guys for watching. We love you guys. And as always, peace.